Welcome to my video that I put together for AT3. My name is Gabrielle Brown and I'm a second year HPE student here at the Launceston UTAS. This video will cover Part A, Part B and Part C of Assessment Task 3 for ESP221, Sustainability for Education. I hope you enjoy it. Over the duration of the semester, I aim to reduce my ecological footprint in 3 ways. The first one was to simply switch the lights off in my room that I'm not in. As I'm living on my own, I usually don't like coming home to a dark room, and keeping the lights on seemed to add a sense of comfort for me. However, since the beginning of this class, I have been switching off all the lights as I'm leaving, and I have become somewhat accustomed to this new habit. I think that the satisfaction of saving energy has now overridden my comfort I gain from leaving the lights on. Second aim was to reduce my plastic waste. So along with the packaging of foods and goods, my biggest usage of plastic was definitely the plastic bags. According to cleanup.org, over 6 million tonnes of rubbish is dumped into the ocean every year, with a very large proportion made up of plastic bags and plastic waste. Now that scares me. So in order to reduce my plastic usage, I did 2 things. I took fabric or reusable bags to the supermarket rather than buying more plastic bags. And I also began buying things in bulk so that I'm not using or buying many individually wrapped products. My third aim was to minimise the usage of printer resources, including cartridges and paper. I was a big fan of printing out lecture notes, tutorial notes and any other learning resources in preparation for my classes. However, it's not only expensive to buy printer cartridges and paper, but I have used countless realms of white paper. And according to Australian Science website, Australians use approximately 230 kilograms of plain paper every year. And so by cutting down on my usage, I've at least made an effort to reduce my ecological footprint. In order to do this, I had to change the mode of how I was taking notes. I changed from writing on pen and paper to just typing it all on my computer. And look, now that I've done it for quite a while now, it feels normal and I'm completely okay with it. So although these 3 things up on the screen, they're all small changes, but I feel like I have reduced my ecological footprint. Just to answer the question on the screen there, was reducing your footprint challenging? If so, why? Look, to answer that, I didn't find it that hard to begin with. Reducing my footprint was somewhat challenging, just to get into the routine of switching off lights or bringing my reusable bags to the supermarket and organising my notes on my laptop. However, once I got started and got into it, it became easy to the point that if I forget to do these routines, if I forget to bring my reusable bags to the supermarket, it just felt strange. So overall, I believe for me it was an easy experience, and also it just comes with a great deal of satisfaction. So if I was to give advice on how I made these changes, I've just come up with a short list of 2 things to help. I've just popped them on the screen now. So the first one, it just says include into your routine. I think the fact that I had my things included in my routine made it so much easier. Just little things that you can just tweak in your lifestyle just so that it's a little bit more sustainable and whatever else. I think that's the way to go. And begin making changes that suit your lifestyle and then challenge yourself. So I admit I've made easy changes. I've just, switching your lights off, you hardly even notice it. So, it's not that big of a deal. But things like, like my next challenge, I think, is to reduce my shower time, just to save water and to save power. And I think that's probably more of a challenge, as I'm so used to having such nice long showers. I'm very guilty for it, but yeah. So I think starting off with something little is a great place to start, but then move into something more challenging, and you just feel there's so much satisfaction from it. So I'd say go for it. The whole footprint calculator experience was pretty interesting for me. After doing the test the first time, I come up with 123 basketball courts for one test, 1.2 planets, and then 3.2 Earths for another. And I thought, goodness, that's a lot. I thought I lived a reasonably eco-friendly lifestyle. I walk a lot, I recycle as much as I can, and I love produce that we grow in the garden at home. So I was just thinking about how other people would have gone with the test, people who are less sustainable, and I thought, wow, But what made me think was the fact that if it would take so many Earths to sustain my way of living, then goodness, I wouldn't like to know how, less sustainable people fared with the test. I definitely found this to be an interesting stimulus to incorporate into my future classes. I feel as though students will engage well with the calculators because it is a very personal thing and students love being involved with that type of thing. I think that it also lights a fire for them and creates a challenge to think of what makes their footprint what it is. What do they already do that is sustainable, and what more can they do to become more eco-friendly? I think the calculators are a great resource, and I'm sure I'll be using it in the future. So this is my first journal entry. It was from week 7. What I'll do is I'll just leave the slide up there for 10 seconds, but you're going to want to pause it just to read it. This is the second journal entry. This one was from week 9, and I'll do the same thing again. I'll just let the slide sit there for 10 seconds, but just give it a pause to have a read. Now this is the third journal entry. This one was from week 10. Same drill again, I'll just leave it up there for 10 seconds if you'd like to pause it and have a read. I absolutely believe that sustainability education has a place in our schools. I believe that educating young people now about the importance of the issue means that they can take charge and create a more environmentally friendly world now and in the future. I did a bit of research on how EFS can be integrated into the broader curriculum and found this really interesting page on how this school was using modelling to engage their students. They found that modelling was a valuable approach to sustainability education, and they promoted both learning about sustainability and adoption of sustainable behaviours in these schools. One of their main focuses was on building a school-wide community, and that placed a whole heap of emphasis on the principles of sustainability. I think this is just great. I mean, with the students being surrounded in it, seeing things happen around them that work to a more eco-friendly school, they're probably more likely to engage in sustainability and eventually grow an appreciation for our Earth and hopefully begin to take action.